Hi, my name is Ayana Brown, and today I'm going to do a brief video on metacognitive strategies. It's part of the information processing. Information processing is exactly what it states, processing information through our brains. We do that every day, whether in school, work, or just sitting with another individual, reading a newspaper, watching TV. All the information we get, we process it through our brains. Our brains are like a mailroom. They sort and get rid of whatever we need and don't need. Just like a mailroom, they get mail, we get memories and information. They sort mail. We either store it or we get rid of it. And they retrieve mail as we retrieve a memory when necessary. Information processing is broken up in memory, speed, and mechanisms of change. Memory is exactly what it is, something you remember, whether good or bad. Mainly, younger children use emotions to remember certain things. They have something we call selective attention because they only pay attention to things that interest them, whether it be exciting or sad, because it strikes an emotion and creates the need for that memory to be created. Speed is, as we grow, we learn and we process information faster as we grow. When we're younger, we're a little slower to process it because we're learning and everything's new. But as we go, our brains not only process the information faster, we ourselves now know different ways on keeping information in our brains. Mechanisms of change describes exactly that. Different ways of developing our memories. As we get older, we know a sight, a sound, a smell, a picture, anything like that can strike a memory and retrieve it for us to remember exactly what we're talking about. For example, you could be in the middle of a conversation and a color passes by and you remember something that had slightly or maybe fully to do with that color, but you remember it and you relate. Because good memories, bad memories, any memories, needs to be discussed, needs to be put out in the air in order for everyone to enjoy. Now, metacognitive strategies. The reason why we have those are exactly as the illustration shows. We use these, the reasons we use these is for developing the student or the person's knowledge in reading text, collecting information, or anything that they need to process through their brains. We want them to understand it better so they gain a better understanding. We want to bring their thinking to a higher level. We want them not just to think, but them to think on the highest levels they can as they grow. And then we want, finally, all of this to transition them into adulthood. Because whether we start young or we old, everything we carry, from school to home to friends to family, it brings us into our adulthood. Now, to develop a student's deeper understanding of text is to give them ways on taking the information. For instance, if you read a book, we would try to develop a way for each student to not only read the book, but to understand it and maybe to relate. Once they can relate to the text, they will remember the text. Bringing their thinking to a higher level. That means explaining their thought process. Really explaining it. Sometimes asking a question to a student after a long day. They cannot relay the information that they would normally relay. But we want to bring them, put out strategies, cues, manipulations that will make their minds always remember the memory and bring their thinking to a higher level. So if I know that I want to need an apple the next day, someone can walk past with a red shirt and in my mind, it'll flick back to my apple and I'll remember to pack it. Lastly, we want to steer every student into adulthood because their schooling years from elementary to high school is just the beginning. Their adulthood is the final quest. Not the final quest, but that's the beginning of the final quest. So we want to steer them into the right way so that they can take everything they learn in school, whether they think it's necessary or not. and place it into their livelihood. Thank you for your time. Have a good day.